slaughterhouse up in Hambley Lane, so they used to herd all the cows and the sheep and all, but the cows were being herded up one day up Meath Street, and we were all playing down the square, and a cow broke loose from the herd and ran down the square in among us. I remember that, and the screams of all the young ones, and we ended up in one of the cottages. Now there was only standing room for us in the cottages. It was more excitement. We had a very eventful life.
Yes,
out on the street. We played out. The street was our playground, and we played out all day.
Don't forget that Bang Bang was your idea.
I kissed Bang Bang.
I was the only girl in Meath Street ever kissed Bang Bang, and then he shot me with his key.
I just imagine she's proud of it.
And we had Bang Bang, and we had Jumbo No Toes.
Yeah.
And I believe he could hardly walk. And
You could run though, Nancy.
I never saw him running, Josie, because he got frostbite. He
Just
he
gave you
cursed.
a stick.
He did an awful tongue, and he'd curse at you for jeering him. And there was another poor unfortunate went up on a bike, and we christened him Gussie Goose.
Oh, yeah, I
And
remember
of course you called Gussie Goose,
Yeah.
and he'd chase you, and you were afraid of your life, Gussie Goose. So, oh, please God, if I'm not caught, I swear I'll never do it again.
Do you remember Gussie Goose?
Yeah. Well,
He had an old-fashioned bike, and
right.
the
Yes.
frame was
Yes.
and he
And
wore
upstairs
a
model.
and a basket in the front.
That's right.
So when the bike was moving, he looked like a goose.
And he was real straight.
Yeah. So we gave him the name Gussie Goose.
Well, that was your enjoyment on the street. Like, I know now we'd be saying things, but we were jeering people. But it was
changed.
But they were all head cases.
I
They were lucky to just pass us by. They were never violent.
There wasn't. There wasn't as much violence or aggression
No,
as there is now. Like
The
even
animal gang were there though.
But they didn't have anybody else.
Killed one
I
another.
never once saw them now. Never. On Meath Street.
only with the itinerants.
You knew they were the animal gang. But they never, ever. I never saw them.
I saw Rose with them, and there'd be a ruggy up. Did you?
Yes.
Joe?
Ruggy up,
And
yeah.
you'd hear, oh, there's a ruggy up Meath
you'd
Street,
run,
and
and
you
you'd
drove.
go up
But
running.
they'd never interfere or say, what are you looking at, or anything like
I
that.
remember standing at Tom
Great.
Foley's Lane.
Yeah.
There was a ruggy up, and we ran over to see it. And the people that lived in the tenement, in the very first, that's the lane. And there's a crowd of itinerants fighting in the lane, and she's shouting, "Get out of the lane! You're making a show of it!" And we started looking up at it, and your man went up to spout, and then shoot the window out, and they ended up being invited up for a cup of tea. It was a great rugby up.
But Nancy, what did the animal gang do? I never ever found out.
Well, they were
were
all
money lenders.
like not as bad. No, it was mostly money and all that, and they had their own turf. So there were different sections of animal gangs. There wasn't only in the Liberties.
Punch them.
And then
They never had knives or guns.
They had.
But had they?
not guns, Nancy.
But they hadn't got guns, but they had those ring things, knuckle dusters. And look at did you see the page in the book about the Lux Brannigan book of all the stuff he confiscated from the animal gang? But then they'd have and they were all money lenders. Your Ma Hannigan now she was the matriarch of the Hannigan.
Talk about my family again. Talk about my people.
Well, does any of you remember Lux Brannigan running up Great Square?
Yes.
The only kids, where's the footballers, the boys for kicking a football. Do you remember the day we were playing dressing our dolls and all in the corner? And the youngsters all got over the wall into the audience. Do you remember you used to go over? And I remember one day, one of us had the dog or the cat it was somebody's cat, Plunkett's cat or something. And we had it dressed in a christening robe. And the bloody cat now ran up the wall. And one of the Lux Brannigan said, I'll leave them be, they're all head cases up here. Even the
All
cats
the
and
youngsters had their slings in Grey Street,
Yeah,
Oscar included.
yeah.
And they ran into Grey Street. Here's lugs. We had the dolls with the clothes, and we hid the slings, and he ran into Meath Square after them. Now when you jumped from Meath Square up on the wall, there was a far longer drop down into the lane, and up Lugs Brannigan went and dropped and landed flat on his back. He didn't know there was a 12-foot drop on the other side. Well, it was the greatest laugh we ever got. Lugs on the flat.
Do you remember Oscar came home one day, and you could hear him before he came around to the house, and he was pouring blood. And Kathleen was there, so I washed him and cut around the hair, and over we brought him to the Adelaide. And he said he was after falling down a slide at the wall thing in Patrick's Park. But it turned out, it was years afterwards, we were told he was after being in a war with the Ash Street gang. So he got a ban of a cabbage stalk. But we went to the Adelaide with him. And I remember when you went in, there was a huge big room, and there was a pillar in the middle of the room, and they'd have the plasters, do you remember, stuck to and you'd hear the swish, and he'd be taking off the plaster and cleaning up his head.
And she was in while they were cleaning his head. And I'm outside roaring crying, and a woman said, "What's wrong, my brother is in there?" What's wrong? He got a belt of a cabbage stalk.
Oh my God! But do you remember the time you were being rolled around in a rusty barrel?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember those?
I rode down the hill, and there was a piece sticking out of the rusty barrel, and it caught in my arm, so I was brought with it right down onto the comb, out onto the road.
Oh yeah.
Oh, y'all, a big gang of us went over to the Adelaide.
And my ma came over there, and she was
Yeah.
I was always getting stitched. I was the quietest of the lot. It's many days.
Well, I think it's great what the lads are doing, because all of these things would be lost.
Yeah.
I think it's great that there'll be some of people even after younger that'll say, "Oh my God, how did they live that way?" Or else they'll say it was great.
We were as happy as the day is long.